And then he just stared at me. Mom, like I had said something ridiculous, she complained as she folded a sweater, placing it on the growing pile in her cupboard. Her phone was placed on her bed, set on a speaker. Sweetheart, it's only been a month. Give him some time, her mother said softly. I know, but he is so cold, it's like talking to a wall. He doesn't even crack a smile. I try to joke, and he just nods, all serious. How am I supposed to deal with that? She whined dramatically as she folded more of her clothes, setting them on bed. Her mother chuckled softly. You have always loved a challenge. Remember when you insisted on reading all those dusty old fantasy books instead of the light novels your friends were into? Yeah, but this different. It's like he's from another world. I have tried everything, but he's so stiff. Maybe he's just waiting for you to break through that tough exterior. You have got that charm after all. I don't think he even wants to stay in the same room as me. She sighed, pouting a little, folding another shirt. Sometimes it feels like I'm just talking to myself half of the time. And when I do get a response, it's always so businesslike. I'm starting to think he might actually be a reward. Honey, your father was the same way when we first got married. I used to think the same, that I was living with a robot. What did you do to merit him? Patience and a bit of charm, her mother replied. You just have to find what makes him tick. Remember, I told you when your father used to grumble about everything, now he practically follows me around like a lost puppy. They both burst into laughter, then she sighed, tossing a pair of socks into the drawer. Not always, but sometimes it's just frustrating, He's so serious all the time, just like I remembered him. I thought he'd do change as he grew up, but she sighed. I tried talking to him about books yesterday, and he looked at me like I was speaking another language. Well, you are a bit of fantasy fanatic, her mother teased, but that's what makes you special. Just keep being yourself. He will come around, or if you want you to come wear something special, why and rolled her eyes and half turning around to place the clothes in the cupboard and froze. Her husband was standing at the door, his hand in his pocket, staring at her with the same unreadable face. Her eyes widened, saucer-like, as her mom continued to speak, her voice echoing in the pin drop silence. Maybe it's time to work your magic on him, and trust me, it will get his attention. Wayne was quick to grab her mobile and enter the call, the room falling into an awkward silence. She bit her lip as she slowly turned to facing. She wanted to bury herself deep in the ground and never come out. The embarrassment she felt knowing Jungkook might have heard it all was overwhelming. She couldn't exactly tell if he did or not because he wore the same neutral expression. Was that your mom? He asked as he stepped further inside. She gulped. Yeah, just talking about stuff. He raised an eyebrow. Stuff. She fiddled with the hem on her shirt, feeling the heat raise to her cheek. Just girl talk. I see. He removed his watch, placing it on the table, not saying much. She bit her lips again. How long have you been standing there? She asked, trying to sound nonchalant, but falling miserably. Long enough, he replied, his tone flat, giving nothing away. She blinked. Well, did you hear anything interesting? He looked at her through the mirror. You talk a lot. She furrowed her brows and folded her arms on her chest. Excuse me, what? I talk a lot. I just run to my mom. There's no one I talk to other than her in the house. Thank you. Should start socializing instead of staying home all day and reading all those fantasy books. Mine almost felt offended. Do you have a problem with me staying home all day and doing what I love? Jungkook finally turned towards her, facing her fully. I never said that, but you mean it. She said stubbornly, and he sighed again, more deeply this time. I did not mean that. It's just that staying home all day doing the same thing is not healthy. Are you saying that while doing the same thing every day? She retorted. Jungkook looked at her with a questioning expression. How? Wayne placed the clothes in the cupboard, finally moving from her place. I can tell your routine by the digits of my finger. You wake up at 7 a.m. You need your coffee. Without it, you get a headache. You read the newspaper until you finish your coffee. Then you take a shower. Exactly 15 minutes later, you come back and get ready for the office. You have breakfast, bread with the omelette, exactly at 8:15 a.m. You leave, then you come back exactly at 6 p.m. She continued. You take off your shoes and place them neatly by the door. You change into more comfortable clothes and then you head straight to your study. You work until dinner, which is always at 7 pm. After dinner, you read through some more documents or work on your laptop until around 10 pm. Then you get ready for the bed and sleep by 11 pm. Jungkook's eyes narrowed slightly as he listened, his expression still mostly unreadable. And your point is? My point is, Ryan said, folding her arms across his chest, that you are telling me to break my routine when you are just as stuck in yours. At least my routine brings me joy. He side turns around. He wanted to say something else, but instead he spoke, at least my routine is healthy. Sure, she said sarcastically, and he shook his head before turning to leave the room, but stopped and turned around. Dinner will be ready soon. Please join me downstairs. Maya nodded, but he had already left the room. She watched him go, a pout forming on her lips. As long as she had known him, she realized that Jungkook had a slight old-fashioned mindset. Not too old, but definitely different from hers. He was punctual and had rules that he never broke. He had routines set in stone. He woke up early, ate healthy, and believed in disciplined lifestyle. He slept early, worked hard, and was very mature, while she believed in living the life freely and didn't see the need to follow strict rules. She enjoyed spontaneity and the joy of unexpected. Despite their differences, there was thing she liked about Jungkook. He was sophisticated and always took care of himself. His punctuality and dedication were admirable, but she wanted him to talk to her like normal couples do. She had too many things she wanted to share with him, but he was mostly working. It wasn't that he was rude or anything. His nature was just less spoken. He wasn't the type to have a long casual conversation. He was quite reserved. Sometimes she felt like it was because of their age difference. They had an 8-year age gap. In her midnight thoughts, she wondered if he didn't want to associate with her because he thought she was childish, living in her own fantasy world. But then she thought it might not be that. It was obviously an arranged marriage set up by the both of their parents with their consent. They talked before the marriage, and she knew she had to get married at some point. She was already 23 and had been receiving many proposals in the past 2 months. She honestly liked his personality, though he was cold. They talked a little but agreed to marry. She knew him before too, so she agreed to marry. Sometimes she imagined what it would like to have a deeper connection with him, to laugh, to talk freely about anything and everything. She wanted to share her dreams, her fears, and her daily experiences. She wanted to know more about him too. What he liked, what he disliked, what made him happy, and what worried him. And her nature is like that. She is talkative and couldn't stay quiet for long. Before their marriage, she used to rant to her mother about everything. Now she felt rather lonely. The silence in the house was sometimes overwhelming, and she missed having someone to talk to freely. And she wished one day she at least succeeded to melt the ice around his heart. They both ate dinner in the silence like always. She was lost in her thoughts, chewing her food time to time. When it was enough thinking, she looked at him and spoke with her mouth full. Do you like cakes? The word came out garbled and completely unintelligible. He looked up, his expression puzzled for a second. What did you say? Without swallowing her food, she tried again. I said, do you like cakes? Jungkook just stared at her with question, clearly not understanding. If you swallow your food before speaking, I might understand you. She nodded, swallowing the rice in one go, and was about to repeat for the third time. She suddenly started choking on her food. She coughed, her eyes widening in panic. He immediately filled a glass of water and handed it to her. Here, drink this. She tried to take a sip, but she was still choking, her face turning red. He quickly stood up from his seat, moving to her side. He began patting her back firmly, his hand moving up and down to help dislodge the food, and to her breath. Her face flushed, partially from the choking and partially from the sudden embarrassment. She felt his strong hand on her back. It was gentle and steady. After a few moments, she finally managed to cough up the piece of food that was stuck. She took a deep breath, feeling a little calm. He handed her the glass of water again, and this time she took it, sipping slowly. Are you okay? Yeah, I think so. Thank you. He returned to his seat, watching her carefully. Maybe next time swallow your food before you speak. She looked down, getting embarrassment, and didn't look up when he spoke again. Now what are you saying? She glanced at him and cleared her throat. I was asking if you like cats or dogs. They are both good in their own way. You don't have any preferences, like one over the other. If I had to choose, I'd say dogs. He said, I had their loyalty and how they can be trained. They are protective and dependable. I like cats. They are independent and curious. And they have such a unique personalities. They are cuddly and can be very affectionate when they want to be. I have always wanted to have a cat. They are so graceful and soft. And I love how they snuggle when they feel safe. Now I think I want one. Jungkook listened quietly. A cat would need proper care and time. Yes, I can handle that. I have a lot of free time and I can make sure it's well taken care of. I know how to handle pets. I have read a lot about it, so I can get a cat right. If you are sure you can take care of her, sure, go ahead. You don't need my permission for that. A wide smile spread across her face. She felt excited, beginning to imagine all the small details, picking out a cute little kitten, buying toys in cozy bed, what breed she wanted, what she would name it, and how she would decorate a little corner of their home just for the cat. Are you free this Sunday? Jungkook looked up at her, seeing how she was asking with so much hope. I have some work to do, but I can manage some time. Why do you ask? I thought we could go to the animal shelter together. Ryan said, her eyes shining with hope. It would be nice to choose the cat together. Jacob gave a small nod. Alright, we can do that. She stared at him in shock. He actually agreed. They had never gone out together like this before. Really? She asked. Just to be sure, yes, he confirmed, his tone as calm as serious as ever. As they continued their dinner, she couldn't help but still glance at Jungkook. She was happy, almost giddy. This small moment might be a small step for them. Jungkook was leaning against the counter. It was Sunday, and as promised, he took her to the animal shelter. He had his hands in his pocket, his eyes following her as she petted the fluffy white cat. Her eyes were wide as she had a big smile cluster on her face as she kept looking at the cats. The shelter owner stood beside her, explaining, this is the Persian cat. They are known for their long fur and sweet temperament. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at Jungkook. Isn't she beautiful? She asked, holding up the cat for him to see. She is. They continued to look at more cats. She moved from sleek Siamese to a playful tabby. She giggled whenever the cat tried to snuggle her arms. Then, as she was holding a small grey kitten with big blue eyes, she turned to show Jungkook again. Look at this one, she is so cute. As if on cue, the kitten jumped from her hands into Jungkook's arms. She gasped, expecting him to get annoyed, especially since he came along in the hot weather and he might not really like cats. But to her surprise, he began petting the kitten, his serious expression softening as the kitten licked his hand. She likes you. Jungkook looked down at the kitten and a small, genuine but almost unnoticeable smile formed on his lips. Can we take her home? If that's the one you want, yes, They went through the adoption process, and soon enough they were walking out of the shelter, the kitten in a carrier. Ryan couldn't stop smiling, and even Jungkook seemed a little more relaxed. It was evening, so they both did shopping together for the cat, and she bought clothes too and made him buy too. He was insisting that he doesn't need clothes, but she did make him buy, and she was a little surprised how he didn't got angry yet. They spent half of the day shopping. Now they were driving back home with the new kitten in her lap. She gently petted the kitten, feeling its soft fur under her fingers, looked over at Jungkook, who was focused on the road. It's getting late, she said. Let's go to the restaurant for dinner. Jungkook glanced at her briefly. I'm sure the maids have already made dinner. Her face fell a little, but it would be nice to go out for a change. We have never gone out to eat together. We can eat at home. It's healthier and the food is already prepared. Ryan looked away, feeling disappointed. Eat healthy like we will die if we didn't one day, she thought. She didn't want to argue, but she also wanted them to do something together. Jungkook kept driving, and she resigned herself to the idea of another quiet dinner at home. He turned the car and pulled into the parking lot. Was clearly not their home. Ryan followed her bros in confusion as he stopped the car and removed his seatbelt. Why did we stop here in the parking lot? Jungkook turned to her, his face serious as ever. Because I realized you are right. We should do things together. He paused, then added, and I wanted to see you smile again, like when you were holding that kitten. And then he got out of the car, her mouth agape as she stared at his figure, eyes widened as she felt a blush creep up his cheeks. Did he really said that with the straight face ever? Sitting opposite of each other, Ryan was staring at Jungkook with displeased expression as he was giving his food order. The waiter. Was he serious? I will have the cornea salad with grilled chicken, Jungkook said to the waiter, and the steamed vegetables with a side of brown rice. He was a health-conscious prick. She noted one more point. If he is sitting in a fancy restaurant, he do order all the salad for his meal. She blinked. Her eyes met his. He raised her eyebrows, silently asking if she had decided what she wanted to order. Yes, I have, she asked, turning to the waiter. I will have the spicy chicken wings, the hot and sour soup, please. The waiter nodded, scribbling down the order before leaving the table. Jungkook's eyebrows remained raised as he looked at her. "You like spicy food?" he asked. If that wasn't obvious, she nodded her head. "Have you been here before?" Jungkook nodded. "For a meeting once or twice. It's a good place for business lunches." She was glad they were out together, even if it just for a meal. She looked around the restaurant. It felt nice to be out of the house and sharing this moment with him. Therefore, and as they started eating, Wayne couldn't help but glance at him every now and then. "Don't you get tired of eating all these salads?" She tried to start a conversation, anything that he keep talking to her instead of them eating in silence just like at home. "It's called a healthy food. If you keep eating those salads, you will grow a tray in your stomach." Jungkook looked at her, trying to hide a smile. "That's not how it works." She giggled, enjoying the small crack in his stoic face. "Come on, just try something different for once." She picked up one piece of spicy beef and held it out to him. "Just one bite." He looked around, clearly uncomfortable. "We are in public. At least try it. We aren't doing anything illegal." She insisted, but he hesitated, looked around, so she took a matter into her own hands. She placed her hand on his jaw, surprising him. He blinked, clearly taken aback by her boldness. With no other option, he opened his mouth and took the bite. "See, not so bad, right?" Jungkook chewed on the food, then spoke. "It's a good but too spicy for me."